apple cake. Hi, I'm Anupa and I welcome you to Sanjeev Kapoor Khazana, and I'm here with this lovely recipe of apple cake. It is something that you can pack up in a tiffin box and give it to your kids, or take it on a picnic or anywhere. It's wholesome, it's nice and it's simple. So let's quickly run through the ingredients. So for this we need nice red apples, eggs, refined flour, castor sugar, baking powder and oil. The best part about this cake is that the oil is what adds the lightness. It doesn't get too heavy, it doesn't get too rich. It's a very light cake, and also the flavor of apple is something that you will have lots in it, and which is why I will not use any vanilla essence, because apple is very nice in flavor and it will really camouflage the flavor or the smell of eggs in this recipe. So what do we do now? First thing that we have to do is we have to cut the apples. So I'm going to take apples with the skin. We just have to chop them roughly. In this case, you can also use two varieties of apples. In case you have the green ones, you can also try that. That's the Granny Smith. These are red delicious, and there's another one which is the pink one. So you can have two varieties of apple in this cake, but if you're using just the green apple, then be prepared that the cake might taste slightly sour. So in case if you're using green, which is Granny Smith, you can just mix about one red apple in that. I'm going to use about 3 apples, and you need to chop it roughly like this. So I have chopped about 2 apples, which I'm going to keep in a bowl, and even if this goes black, doesn't matter, but don't squeeze any lime juice on this because we'll use it very soon, and even if it goes black, no problem. So now to start off with, we need to take some sugar. I'm going to take half a cup of castor sugar, to which I'm going to add about half a cup of oil. Now take an electric beater. So we're going to beat this for a while, and after that we'll add in the eggs. Now after we've beaten the sugar and the oil, it's time to add an egg, and what we'll do about the egg is that we'll add one egg at a time. So after you add in the egg, we'll again beat this. So similarly, you got to beat this till all the 3 eggs go in and you have developed a nice, good and a thick batter. The minute you add the egg, you see the mixture starts thickening like this. It's basically because there's a lot of emulsion that is happening. How do you make a mayonnaise? It's exactly eggs and oil, and same thing is happening here. Just that we are now going to fold in the flour after we've added all the 3 eggs. But remember, add 1 egg at a time. Now time to add the 3rd egg. So after this, we'll add in all the apples to this, and we'll again beat this up. In the meanwhile, while the entire thing is beating up, if the apples get crushed, doesn't matter. So now we'll take half a teaspoon of baking powder. I'll put it into this 1 cup. And we'll take some refined flour and make this into 1 cup. So here I have my sieve in which I'll put the refined flour. then we'll add in half a cup of flour more and sieve that too. Okay, so this is done. So basically you got to cut and fold. That's it. This is done. So after this is done, I have a cake tin which I have lined with parchment paper, and it has been further greased with some butter. So this entire batter will now go in. Okay, so this entire thing has gone in, and I am going to put this cake tin in a preheated oven. This cake takes a little longer, so I am going to bake this for 40 minutes and let's see how it looks. Okay, so this apple cake was out of the oven and has been resting for a while. I have let it cool, so now we can actually demold it. So all you have to do is just remove the paper and then just turn it upside down, remove this parchment paper, parchment, whichever way you want to call it. Then very carefully we'll cut them into nice square pieces. The apple pieces are plenty in the cake, so it's loads of apple. So you can actually call this cake an apple overload or a plain simple apple cake. And while I plate it, I want to also eat one. It's really nice. One suggestion I give you here is that in case you are someone who likes to have cakes really sweet, you can increase the amount of sugar from half a cup to 3/4 cup, but nothing more than that. The reason that I had left the sugar to half a cup in this recipe was because apples that I have used are really sweet and they leave a lot of sweetness to this entire cake. But I know of people who really like to have cake sweet. So if you are one of them, then you increase the sugar to 1/4 cup more, so which makes it to about 3/4 cups of sugar. So that's about it. Simple recipe. Have this with your tea and I'm sure you would not want to have this cake very sweet. It is just perfect this way and it's my recipe specially for you.